Did they call, like when the earthquake happened, or Shinzo Abe, did they call for a period of mourning?
It wasn't kind of a period of mourning. It was kind of...
Since there is a lot of, tragedies like school shootings, airplanes crashing.
Dude, every day we'd be in a non-stop period of mourning.
Exactly. So that's why it'd be cool if I felt connected to everybody, but it's just too large, so it sort of seems impossible.
And would you wear black if, like, Donald Trump had said, "Hey, we're going to have a day of mourning for this terrible tragedy. I want everyone to wear black." Would you have worn black?
That's a good question. I don't know if I...
You're not just a Penn State student, right? You're a Penn State student from Saudi Arabia. So tell me all about Saudi Arabia. Tell me all about how your Penn State experience is for you versus, oh, how is it for you? How is it for you? And so we're separating ourselves automatically, and that like kind of, it's going to lead to this kind of thing, right? Whether you support the Second Amendment or don't support the Second Amendment, but think about this. We have a society in which we have these school shootings, and the best response that we can have to it is to
I grew up in Japan as well, back in 2011 when the earthquake hit.
Yeah. I was, okay, go
I
ahead.
remember as a kid on TV,
Yep.
there was, videos of buildings falling on top of people dead on the street because of bricks and all kinds of things falling down in the city. I remember seeing that along with another tragedy of Shinzo Abe getting shot. Those type of things. I find it very similar as if it's like a national tragedy that actually kind of affects everyone.
Did they call, like when the earthquake happened, or Shinzo Abe, did they call for a period of mourning?
It wasn't kind of a period of mourning. It was kind of, everyone kind of knew that it's something important to mourn about. It's something that affected everyone. People died along with the fact of, it ruined the economy for a little bit. I mean, it affected the economy. There was a lot of things that affected it, and I think it's the same for everyone. When it affects their country, everyone kind of goes into a slight couple-day period of mourning. It seems.
Got you. So this is similar to what you said, right? But the government doesn't come out and officially, like here right away, the government came out and officially said.
It was all over media, basically. It was more media rather than government kind of pushing things.
Got you. Yeah, got you. So it's not. Do you remember like how much you felt like a kind of an obligation to follow?
It wasn't more like an obligation. It was more of like fear, I guess, because like the aftershocks kept coming, the earthquakes didn't stop.
Yeah.
So it was a fear that it might happen again, and it might be bigger. Buildings are going to fall. The roof's going to come down on top of us.
Okay. So that in part is there's a self. The self is really important here, right? So in that case, hey, we might get another earthquake, and I could lose my house or I could die. And in Korea, Suman said that, well, yeah, but we all fly in airplanes, and that could be any of us at any moment, but that kind of sense of, but there's still that sense. So Victoria, I want to go back to you and ask you, since you're here, there's this very delicate balance following along because you genuinely feel it, because you genuinely feel a connection to other citizens of your nation, right? And you're also doing it because, I feel the connection, but I don't want to stand out. Like there's a saying in Korea that you don't want to be the nail that sticks out, because if you're the nail that sticks out, you're going to get pounded down. So when you're a communitarian-oriented moral order, you're always watching other people. You're always aware of other people because you're getting your cues from other people all the time. So everything you do, you're thinking constantly, what are other people thinking about me right now? If I'm sitting in the social 19 class and he puts his feet on the chair, It's like he could be, what would be more likely here is like, yeah, well, I'm going to put my feet on the chair, whatever. You know, how many fights are there in the U.S. about that kind of thing? But if you're in a communitarian, but this guy, he can't sit back and hit his feet. So, but you would be thinking in a place with a communitarian moral order, he's going to be thinking, I'm going to bring shame on myself if other people see me doing that. That's really shameful. And people will look at me in a really negative way. And that will be bad. That's bad. I'm not being a good citizen. I'm not being a good person. It's not just that I'll get in trouble because Sam will yell at me. It's that I will bring shame upon me, and I'll bring shame upon my family and my friends. And I don't want to do that. And there's a big difference there. It's subtle, but it's big. All right, thanks, dude. How's that feel to put your feet up there? Doesn't feel good, right? That sense of that shame, like what I just said right there. It's like you're always watching. You want to make sure that you fit in with everyone else, and you're a good citizen because you want society to run well. You want to be part of it. Can you?
Okay, so I do feel like a genuine connection to it most of the time, because like the situations that happen, like that could have happened to me is the bigger thing. It's I think most of the times when these things happen, like usually my friends or people I knew were in the area, and like you kind of realize like, oh, that could have like happened to someone near me or me. But also like the other half is I am looking out for how people look at me, of how I react to the situation. Because since like I think it's because of the culture that I've grown up in, it's like if something happens and you don't seem to care as much as other people, it's like you are bringing shame to yourself, because to us it doesn't make sense. Like if something happens and someone else says like, oh, why do I need to care? I feel like everyone would be really shocked, because it's like, why don't you care? Like this happened to someone in your community. And here for the two of you, well, maybe less so you, but this guy for sure. No, for in the United States, right? But the community is smaller, right? So it's like, no, but my family is my community, or my extended family, or people that live right around me, or my dorm floor, or my club team, or just the people, the other Saudis who are studying at Penn State. But of course that wouldn't be, right? Because it's a bigger community. But for us, it would be like, yeah, well, I only really need to care for people directly around me. But here, in a place like Korea, where 96.5% of the people living around you are Koreans, and you share a lot in common with them, the community is much bigger and it's much stronger. And of course, that's what has allowed Korea to become one of the most powerful nations in the world, because they have used that to their advantage. So how would that be in the United States? Max, let me ask you, like, how would it be if here, like, you really felt a connection to all these other Americans? And you're like, yeah.
I mean, I'd be surprised to be connected to like 300 million people. And since there is a lot of, tragedies like school shootings, airplanes crashing.
Dude, every day we'd be in a nonstop period of mourning.
Exactly. So that's why it'd be cool if I felt connected to everybody, but it's just too large. So it sort of seems impossible. I feel connected to like just, you're a fellow human being and your life matters. Yeah. But I can't, I'll mourn for you a little bit. But if I don't know who you are or what you did, maybe you're a terrible person. I have no idea.
Right. And you're not, and Victoria isn't thinking that, or Suman isn't thinking that in Korea about some of the people on the plane. It's just like, no, you're part of this. And that's a really cool thing about also the United States, that that we have this disconnect in a way that's also cool. I mean, see, like one way or the other way, they're both fascinating. It doesn't really matter. How would it be for you if everybody was stopped and was posting on social media and was for this plane crash? If we had even a single day, and would you wear black if like Donald Trump had said, "Hey, we're going to have a day of mourning for this terrible tragedy. I want everyone to wear black." Would you have worn black?
That's a good question. I don't know if I personally maybe go all out like that, like wearing the black. Yeah, but I would feel bad, and like I would like show that I do feel bad in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, but wearing black would be wearing black. That would be
right.
See, that's a perfect answer for an American. Like really, that's like, okay, yeah, I'll go this far, but I'm not sure I'm going to go all the way. Because that's like you're asking me to do something that I don't typically do, and like, I'm gonna stick my neck out. But I can be on my phone though and be like, whoa, in the privacy of my little world here, which is a big world, but a little world.
Right.
Yeah. Huh.
My question is to the Americans. I'm building on the point you just made because I want to see how polarized you guys are. Let's say a plane crash happened and most of the people in it are like Republicans, and let's say you're a Democrat. Would you sympathize with them as much as if they were like all like Democratic?
Okay, let's just go one or the other. You're a Republican, and they were all Democrat. They were coming back from the Democratic National Convention. Or you're a Democrat, and they're coming back from the Republican National Convention. Do you think you would respond differently?
Personally, I couldn't care less about their political affiliation.
Yeah, because he's an engineer, so it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah, but you already saw how the last plane crash was used for political like attacks. So it's sort of like built into our culture to sort of make everything political. But for me personally, I wouldn't care. They're a person. If they're a Democrat or Republican, it doesn't mean that they're already a bad person or a good person. They're just a person.
Yeah, this is actually a really good question because, especially as an outsider, because, yeah, Dima's Saudi also, so you're thinking about this in this way, yeah. Would it matter to you?
No, it wouldn't.
So when you were reading that piece that you were reading about one of the victims, that you weren't thinking at all about anything of their background or anything like that?
No.
Yeah.
To answer the question, what keeps us from cultural cohesion required for a similar national mourning period, I would argue that diversity is actually a pretty big contributor to our lack of ability to do something like that. Racial diversity, I would argue, is like part of it because people naturally have an in-group preference, but I would also argue it's the least important measure of diversity in this context. I would argue that far more relevant measures of diversity that inhibit the social cohesion are cultural and religious diversity.
Yeah. I agree with you, by the way.
Yeah, these factors significantly influence the values that people hold, and the more aligned a society's values, the more cohesive the society.
Yeah.
The more things people have in common, be that shared religion, ancestry, valued goals, etc., the more they tend to care about each other on average. How this relates to communitarian social morality, I would argue that it naturally emerges from societies with high social cohesion. So the panel, I would ask, to what degree do you think your closeness with other Koreans or Japanese is a byproduct of your social homogeneity?
Yeah, or Saudis here. Yeah.
Yeah, or Saudis.
Hey, by the way, thanks for writing that out because I like how it's really clear. And I'm 100%. This is one of the problems of focusing on diversity. When we focus on diversity, we're focusing on difference, and we're highlighting difference. And that's a good thing because it's like, oh, difference. This is great. Let's hear what's so let's talk about you. You're not just a Penn State student, right? You're a Penn State student from Saudi Arabia. So tell me all about Saudi Arabia. Tell me all about how your Penn State experience is for you versus, oh, how is it for you? How is it for you? And so we're separating ourselves automatically, and that like kind of it's going to lead to this kind of thing, right? But I think you said the fact that Saudi, you have so much in common. Like when you meet somebody from Saudi Arabia at a restaurant in Frankfurt or in Tokyo or in Seoul, it's like you know that person at some level.
Yeah, definitely. My personal experience here as a Saudi at Penn State was honestly great because I had a great community that helped me out through every single thing that I went through my freshman year and also through my sophomore year. Whether it's studies, whether it's academics or anything personal, everyone is just there for everyone.
Yeah, they're just there. So Saudis have that. Well, lots of different student groups have it. The Chinese have that. Several years ago in China, when I was doing a lot of work with Chinese students in China, and like before you even come to Penn State, man, if you get admitted to Penn State, you connect with future Penn Staters in China. There's like whole student manuals, a student manual for Penn State written in Mandarin. That you're reading this back before you ever come here. You're reading this 100-page manual all about Penn State, everything you need to know. It's in Mandarin. It's like you're connected, man, already before you get here. So it's like, yeah, that's wild. You don't have that. You didn't know that, bro. You didn't have it. So this idea that he just had about this homogeneity, like this Korean, you feel a Koreanness? That Koreanness is, but you don't feel it so much in Japan. But you're different, right? Because you're very multicultural. Like you're U.S. and Japan together. Like you're split 50-50, it seems like, right? So you can go one way or the other. Wait, hang on. So like if I said, hey, here's what I want you to do. I want you to spend a month as an American, 100%, man. Just leave Japan behind, be an American. You could do that.
I could. Like when we did like the code switching thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I like am living in Japan, if I wear this on the train, like I would get judged so much. Mm-hmm. My mom said, that's embarrassing, please don't wear that. Mm-hmm. So like sometimes like being different is nice here.
Yeah.
But it's not a good thing in Japan. So I changed like everything, my style, the way I like talk, and like I just like try to be more Japanese.
Because you want to fit.
Because I want to belong to the.
Yeah.
I want to feel a belonging, like some kind of belonging.
So now imagine here's this period of mourning, where the entire nation for a week is mourning, is feeling it. You go to a coffee shop, you go walk down the street, everybody is dressed in dark colors. Everybody is thinking about this. And you are sending so much energy to the victims, right? To the people. And then that if this happens to me, I'm going to receive the same energy. Like that has so much value. Whereas like here in the US, we don't have any of that. Bro.
There's one thing that I wanted to challenge in the narrative of the class is there's also a lot of cases in mourning for U.S., especially for soldiers who are stationed outside, that we do have mourning thing that happens as well. But also for Koreans, or I'm not too familiar with Saudi. Do you also mourn about the Koreans who live outside of Korea the same way you would in inland?
Well, yeah, because there were. Most recently, there was a couple, like the figure skaters who died in that plane crash. There were a couple Koreans.
And also, I meant like not just Koreans, but also like Korean Korean heritage people who may be American but also Korean. Do you guys also affiliate those in the same mourning sense as you would to just Koreans?
No, I think you got to be really inside the country in a way. Yeah, I mean that's part of what it is. By the way, when 9/11 happened here in the United States, you wouldn't know, you guys, you don't know this. When 9/11 happened, we didn't have an official period of mourning, but that's the only time in my lifetime, a little bit when JFK was assassinated, but I was only 3 years old, so I don't remember. I can only know what people told me. But when 9/11 happened, we had a week of mourning. And it was like, but nobody called for it. It's just everything stopped. There were no commercials on television. The late night shows, everything was like, there was nothing. The comedy, no comedy, very limited. And the first thing that happened, the first late night show, when these comedians, and they do their little opening stand-up act, I forget who did it. It might have been David Letterman. I don't remember who did it. But they did one of these opening monologues that was humorous. And it was, everyone knew it was coming. Like people here said, like, okay, it's going to happen tonight. This is they're going to break the ice on this, and then it happened, and then suddenly, slowly, it just started going again. But no company wanted to be the first company that had a commercial shown on television. So that was 9/11. That was big, but that was the only time in my lifetime that anything happened in that way. Final question, bro, or comment, and then we'll go.
So earlier, I don't remember who it was, but somebody was talking about how in America, it's like there's too many sad stories to mourn for them all.
Yeah.
Right? Like every week you turn on the TV, you see something sad, and that is an unfortunate fact. But I'm trying to figure out, like, if we were to change our mentality about these situations, would we also change the outcome, right?
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Right.
Like, dude, here, think about this. School shootings. Look, hang on. Here, listen to this, because I want to make sure you hear it correctly. Whether you support the Second Amendment or don't support the Second Amendment, but think about this. We have a society in which we have these school shootings, and the best response that we can have to it is we teach children to run and to hide. That's it. As a nation, that's like the best we're going to do. Put security guards in our schools. We're going to do all this kind of stuff. It's like, whoa, man. But imagine if we actually sat down as a nation and said, hey, what are we going to do? Yeah, that's what you're saying. Like, what if we sat down? Yeah. Figure out how we're going to, would the problems go away? Yeah, they would lessen for sure. Yeah. Hey, listen, can we have a round of applause for everybody? Thank you.